Welcome back, folks. You're here again at the Square to Circle Music Channel. It's your old pal, Mage. Remember me? We're here again tonight to talk about music appreciation and record collecting and all sorts of fun things. Yeah, April has begun. Spring has sprung. Really glad that I didn't put my strawberries in the ground today because it's supposed to freeze tonight. All these idiots that started planting their gardens already here in Western Oregon, they're going to be singing a sad tune tonight. Anyway, we didn't come to talk about gardening, did we? We came to talk about music. It's Monday night. I usually like to talk about, kind of begin the week on a fun, pleasant note. We're going to start this week with another episode of your favorite Tales from the Thrift. That's right, everybody. I went to the thrift stores this weekend. I had some time to kill, and that's what I do in my lazy times. So I went to a series of secondhand stores and picked up a bunch of cool junk. So you guys want to check it all out with me? I thought you might. Let's go for it, shall we? First on the list tonight, all the cool cassette tapes that I picked up. Got a pretty good handful. Nothing I'm really ecstatic about, but always some fun hits when you can get them, sometimes 4 for $1 or at least 2 for $1. So gotta pick up a few. I like Jean-Luc Ponty. Everyone likes Jean-Luc Ponty, right? Yeah, this is like middle career for him. I've never heard anything about this one. He did everything on Atlantic Records, right? Because he played with a bunch of those crazy prog nuts and all kinds of great bands throughout the 70s. This one's called Imaginary Voyage. Yeah, like 76. But pretty friggin' cool dude. And some more kind of like hippie kind of jazz, kind of, well, yeah, this is soft jazz, definitely. But yeah, put out on that great ECM label, Ralph Towner and Gary Burton. Yeah, I've definitely heard Ralph Towner's name a lot. I don't know who Gary Burton is. Safe to say, I'm sure it's probably some stand-up, some upright bass and some piano. That's kind of all, like, that's all of what ECM basically does, is like super cool, free jazz, primarily just like upright bass and piano. So rest assured, that's probably what this is. Pretty cool. Oh man, saw a copy of this and it makes me laugh every single time I see it, so had to get it. Arlo Guthrie, his Alice's Restaurant album, like 1972, right? 73, maybe. Oh, wow. Quite a bit older than I thought, 67. That's right. So this is always a fun listen. I had a buddy in high school that even, like in the 90s would walk around with his Walkman on, listening to this and he memorized it. It was his thing. He wanted to be an actor, wanted to be a comedian, and this was kind of like, every wannabe comedian's kind of thing. And you wanted to be able to do this kind of like, comedy to sing song type of shit that Ray Stevens was doing and all that. So he was kind of the, creator of that, in a sense, one of the first. A band I don't know anything about, I've seen for years and years and years, and I've had some of their LPs, and they kind of just, I put it on, I listen once or twice, and then I put it in the box to go to the record show to sell. Yeah, this will be another chance giving these guys a shot here. Sweet, the band's Sweet. Different era, everybody. I come from a different time. Chill out. I don't know a lot of this like classic rock stuff. But yeah, Sweet's album called Off the Record. Looking forward to giving this a run in the old tape deck. So we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it's cool. Probably just blues rock, right? Gotta love a little bit of Van Morrison. Gotta have some in your life. I definitely love Van Morrison. He's pretty cool. Another buddy of mine that I had about a decade ago when I was, cooking in a kitchen at a bar, he would go through phases, and he had a very extensive, quite long Van Morrison phase where he was like, back in the kitchen, that's all he would ever put on. And he kind of was like senior dog. What's up, Drew Anderson? Love you, buddy. He was kind of senior dog in a sense in the kitchen back then. So what Drew wanted to listen to basically throughout his whole shift, that's what everyone got to listen to. And for many, many months, it was Van Morrison. But yeah, Van Morrison kicks ass. This album called Enlightenment, probably his like 80s career. Even later, 1990. Cool. Enlightenment by Van Morrison. Not familiar with it at all, so excited to give that a turn. And of course, every time I see this, I have to pick it up and give it a good listen. It's the only little bit of this band that I really enjoy at all. There's some other pretty awesome hits from them, but I do like The Grand Illusion by Styx. So a copy on cassette of this is, pretty cool to have. Doesn't this have the You're Fooling Yourself? Yeah. Begins with The Grand Illusion, and of course it has Come Sail Away on it. Yeah, the grand finale is really, really cool too. So, pretty fucking good album. Kind of cool soft rock. Almost kind of some elements of prog to them. I don't call them a prog band. I'm what a lot of you folks like to call prog adjacent. That's what I kind of put Styx in that kind of category. But cool, nonetheless. So that's my stack of tapes. Some pretty neat cassette tapes this time, guys. Moving along, pushing it forward here. I also got I'm actually really, really excited about this stack of CDs. So I'll bring out these CDs. I love really the only thing I know of him and his career. What a handsome devil, and what a great singer and an actor as well. I remember seeing him in Twin Peaks and like a few other things. Well, he was in the Twin Peaks movie. Wasn't he in Fire Walk with Me? Anyway, he's awesome. I love Chris Isaak. His first debut eponymous release, 1987, I think. Yeah, it's got everything. It's got Lie to Me. It's got Crying, Lover's Game. Yeah. The big hits, Chris Isaak. It's a fucking stud. Everyone loves Chris Isaak, right? This one, way cool. I had totally forgotten about this. And I remember watching this when I was a teenager and thinking it was just the coolest fucking thing. He's one of the classic, one of my favorite, very favorite of the original, old dogs, and the crooners and the jazz guys, and, up there with Sinatra and, Mel Torme and just all that stuff. And watching him do MTV's Unplugged series, dude, Tony Bennett. I remember when he did this. Fuck, I don't even remember when it was, like 98 or 99. No, it was even older, yeah. 94 when he did this. So this is way cool. Like amongst, Pearl Jam and Nirvana and their immortal sets, on the MTV Unplugged stage, up walks Tony Bennett and does his thing. Cool, smoky voiced Tony Bennett. Love the shit out of this guy. Really stoked to come across that. Neat find. Another classic album for me. Same era, like early 90s. Grew up as a very young child, like hearing this on like, FM radio and just like, he was part of my childhood and upbringing and singing me to sleep. And having this greatest hits album by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers for a fucking $1. Like, heck yeah. I think I did have this in high school at one point. I think I had it on tape, on cassette tape, but it's got an amazing list of tunes, 20 songs on this fucking album. And just all the greatest. The very, very, very greatest. It's even got Mary Jane's Last Dance on it. Hard to find because, well, it's not hard to find, but they only released that as a single. Like you could get it on cassette tape, and then I'm sure there's a vinyl out there somewhere, but it's like a maxi single or something like that. It was never on an album, come to find. I didn't realize that. It was never on an actual full-length studio album LP release by them, so you can't get a regular copy of just that, one of their probably most notorious famous tunes, Last Dance with Mary Jane. So now I just have something that has every fucking song on it. So pretty cool. Really happy to find that. Another one for $1. It's like, I'll buy some greatest hits. I'll buy some greatest hits on CD for $1. Fuck yeah. A David Bowie greatest hits CD from like 69 to 74. So the super glory days of old David Bowie. Yeah, pretty fucking neat. All pristine copies of this stuff. Another great classic that I haven't had in years. Really glad to have it back in my collection again. Perfect Circle's second album, my favorite of all of their work, 13th Step. Pretty fucking dope. Every single track on this album is monumentally pretty fucking killer cool. So if you old timers or anybody, I don't mean to poke fun at age all the time. I don't really mean that. Not calling you guys old in a negative way. Just any of you guys that have been around for a long time, who've been listening to music for 50 years. You've never listened to these guys. You really ought to give them a shot. A lot of people get scared and they feel like it kind of falls into that rough category of rock history, the rough period, from like 97 to 2007, where rock and roll was just fucking cringy, really awfully cringy. So a lot of, boomer generation guys, you were just kind of like totally hands off, completely hands off. But give these guys a shot. They're really worth a deep listen. A Perfect Circle, they're called. So yeah, if you like hard rock, you'll really dig these guys. Pretty fucking cool. And of course, when it comes to the CD pickups, this time, this shit blew me away. I was really fucking excited to see this, because I've talked about this before. I don't really collect a lot of their vinyl just because I grew up listening to it so much, and there's only really like a really tight little period in their history that I really actually like at all of any of their music. But another band that a lot of people really love to classify them and call them a prog band. I don't call them a prog band, but we'll just leave that out of this conversation right now. But I got a super awesome double disc collection of Rush's greatest hits. Actually, no, I'm not positive yet if it's a bunch of live recordings or if it's the original album. I think it's just an original album releases greatest hits double disc of all their greatest work. And there is a couple of live tracks on the second disc, but yeah, 2 discs, a big book outlining everything. I'm stoked to dig into this and kind of really read about it. And it's got all the stuff about, or all the music that Rush released that I really like best. So, pretty stoked to have that for $1. Really cool. All right, guys. Well, short and sweet on a Monday night. Just kind of blasting through all this cool shit I found at the thrift stores. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Yeah, like I said, spring is really, it's popping around here, but it's going to be cold again tonight. So take all your plants indoors, folks. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, we're headed for some ice. These are the vinyl pickups that I got. Really wicked cool pile of shit. Here's one that I love and adore, everything that this band has given us. This was just kind of like quite a few albums down the road for me, and I still haven't got a chance to burn through it and really absorb much of it. It's the Moody Blues, and they're what I imagine is their 7th release, their 7th album called Seventh Sojourn. Just jumping to conclusions here, but I think it's like 72. I think by this time, since they've been around since 66, I think their first release was sometime in 65 or 66. And of course their, timeless classic in 67, Days of Future Past. And then basically, so that was their second album. They'd only been a band for like 3 years. And until this one in 1972, I think in only a matter of like 4 to 5 years, they cranked out 7 full-length LPs. Pretty fucking amazing. So I really got to sink my teeth in this one. I love this artwork. One of my favorite of theirs is everyone kind of considers it to be pretty dull and pretty, just, I don't know, if there's really a lot of detail in this to kind of like check out. I really dig it. Only song on the album that I'm familiar with at all, just off reading the track list, is, I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. That's the last song on the album, and I don't really know much of the rest of the album, so I'm excited to really, like I said, sink my teeth into that son of a bitch. Some classics that, again, I'm not familiar with at all. I love going and buying stuff that I've never really given a chance because it's cheap and I can just really, have some fun with it and not be nervous to spend like $45 on a record and wonder if I'm going to like it or not. I try not to do that anymore. Found me some really cool classic rock. Steppenwolf. I believe this one's probably like 1970, 1972 maybe, if I don't know. I didn't look too deep. And again, list of songs I don't know at all. I think maybe I've heard the song Jupiter Child. That rings a bell. These guys are cool. So I'm going to get into some Steppenwolf this week. Yeah, found another one too. Slow Flux, is that what it's called? This was like 74, I think. Slow Flux. gonna be getting my Steppenwolf on this week. It'll be fun. I always buy stuff that I find that is sealed. I mean, not everything, but a lot of times if it's like, you know, well, I guess I'll have to check this out. This looks to be like kind of the beginning era, the very first of the first groups of boy bands created by record companies to sell some units. So it's really kind of made me chuckle. Joe Boxers. And their album's called, that's kind of why I bought it too, because the album's called Like Gangbusters. Yes, Like Gangbusters. Look at these fucking pretty boys. Wow, 1982, just probably some really killer kind of new wave pop stuff. Dude's name is Dig Wayne. That's his name. He's the singer. Songs like She's Got Sex, Hide Nor Hair, Not My Night, Just Got Lucky. I can't wait. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't pop this open because it's sealed, you know? Maybe I should just keep it around like this. Pretty amazing. This one, I don't know, man. I never buy like those collections, those big, thick, you know, 4 and 5 disc collections, unless it's like a collection of, you know, traditional Christmas hits or something like that, you know. But for $2, you know, and then looking at the list of songs on the back, and I kind of like the art on the front. It's a 5-disc collection of rock and roll hits from, you know, the early to mid 60s. Solid gold party rock. Cheesy fucking picture. You know, this was released in like the 80s, the early 80s, but it's 5 discs of just like, you know, whatever, dude, like, you know, doo-wop, golden age, rock and roll, R&B stuff that's like, it's fun. It's fun to just kind of like put this on for a day while you're cleaning the house and just listen to that old kind of stuff. An era of music, personally speaking, that I'm not a giant fan of, and I never really have been. That kind of golden era of rock and roll, R&B, soul music, I just like. A lot of it doesn't really tickle me a lot of the times, but, you know, hits by Bobby Darin, the Shangri-Las, the Tokens, Sing Lion Sleeps Tonight, you know, the Silhouettes, Diana Ross and the Supremes, just tons of shit that is just like, it's like listening to the radio for an afternoon. Pretty cool. Aretha Franklin's on here. The Jackson 5 sings I Want You Back, you know, just Tony Orlando, the Monkees, Beach Boys. Pretty cool. And they're all super clean, you know. This will be fun for a day, at least for $2. Fuck yeah. And it's all totally clean. Clean as a whistle. Yeah, pretty neat. It's like I'm, you know, it's my 16th birthday in 1965. Yay. I'm a big kid now. Party rock. Pretty stoked about that. Here's another really cool one for lots of reasons. I've never seen it. I love the picture of the cool dude with a mustache and his fucking, you know, Cocker Spaniel on the front. He sings all kinds of great country tunes. His name's Mickey Salter. Mickey Salter sings Nashville. That's the name of the album. He just sings Nashville honky-tonk country tunes, and he autographed this for some lucky schmuck named Judy. Thanks for the dance, he says to Judy. Bring more great folks to the shows. Mickey Salter. I can't wait to listen to this one. It should be great. And like I said, you know, when you see shit like that, you have to buy it. That's really cool. You know, just an average dude putting his life on vinyl. Pretty neat. Found a cool vein of, well, they weren't all together, but they, you know, I buy these because I love the cover art, particularly love the cover art, but also these are some of the greatest contemporary classical and classical compositions ever created. And every time I see one that's basically the entire LP is dedicated to one classical composition, it's not just a bunch of like random arias and random shit, you know, from all different composers and stuff. If I see a piece, you know, an LP that is like one solid, amazing piece of classical music, and the cover art is badass and it's super clean, heavy duty wax, you know, like for $2, absolutely, I'll pick it up because I love and adore classical music, contemporary symphonic music. And especially when the art is really captivating and stark and bold and beautiful. And that's, you know, that's worth my money for sure. This one especially, everyone loves, you know, American composer God, you know, Gershwin, Ira Gershwin. But of course, this is his most famous work of all time, Rhapsody in Blue. And on the B side is The American in Paris, you know, from the same musical conceptualization. And I just love this, like the lime green with the dark, dark blue and this weird fucking cool picture. And I was just like, fuck yeah, it's super clean. You know, I love this piece of music. It is, yeah, American composition at its very, very, very best. Little bit of a personal story, like I marched drum corps the summer of 2001. I played snare drum in the Denver Blue Knights, which is, you know, a drum corps. And I'm not going to go into any more elaboration than that. But in our show, a drum corps show is generally split into like 4 parts, sometimes 3, but usually 4. And it consists of like kind of an opening theme blast. It's really short, usually maybe a minute and a half, 2.5 minutes, kind of just as an introductory thing into your show. Second part of the show is much more elaborate and long in scope, and it usually can go anywhere from like 8 to 10 minutes of, you know, marching and all kinds of shit going on, and leads usually into like kind of a drum solo, like a big giant moment. And then everything in Act 3 kind of fizzles down and you play like a ballad theme. And the corps I marched for in 2001, that was our ballad theme, was the American in Paris theme by Gershwin. And so that is a moment that features, you know, the visual artists, the dancers, and the rifle squad, and the flags, and all that stuff. Features that because they're doing a thing. You know, and they're doing their whole thing. And at this point in time, I'm a snare drummer, so the drums in the battery are like in the backfield, and it's like the only time we get to like take a breather, you know, from marching with fucking drums on you. And it's like 120 degrees in Oklahoma City, you know what I mean? And like people are fucking blocking out on the practice field and stuff during the day. Anyway, pretty fun trip, and that's just a great memory for me. When I hear that music, I'm in the backfield, the cool breeze on my face, and I just got to march for this thing and just like take a break and just look out at like this city, this random city. I don't know where I am. I'm just performing in a different city every single night. And I just got to kind of like take in the atmosphere and the scope of like what I was doing and performing. It was, yeah, that's what music is. It's so great. It can take you back to a really special, specific place in your life. Yeah, so I adore this music for a lot of reasons. Here's another great piece that I truly adore. It's one of the greatest compositions in mankind, man history, you know, the history of humankind. And a lot of people everyone can agree with that. I'm talking about Igor Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring. Again, you know, superb classic piece. All just the entire LP is dedicated to that one composition. I'm not sure who performs it. It's a German symphony that performs it, and just the art, you know, the red cover, Vox label, you know, and beautiful painting there. So that's what I mean. This is stuff that like I have to have pieces like this in my collection when I come across them, and when they're fucking pristine, you know. And again, you know, Rite of Spring can easily go down in history as one of the greatest human-made compositions ever known. And another one, man, those fucking Russians, dude. Whew. And I was so excited. I've never seen this. I mean, a lot of this classical stuff I've never seen. Because you're not on the hunt for it all the time. You pass it over all the time. And you just see the name and you're like, okay, whatever, it was classical. But this just has some of his best. I'm talking about Mussorgsky. And it's just, the album's called Mussorgsky's Head. Look at this fucking shit. You gotta be kidding me. Get the fuck out of town. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, and I mean, it's got all of them on here. It's got his pictures at the exhibition. It's got, what's the other super famous one? Night on Bald Mountain. Yeah, always listed incorrectly. I believe, and I've read about this, that the correct direct translation for the Russian, you know, for when they say a night on Bald Mountain, it's translated wrong into English. It's actually Night on Bear Mountain, not the animal, B-E-R-E, B-E-A-R. I'm talking about B-A-R-E, Bear Mountain. It's a mountain that has no trees and nothing on it. The mountain is bare, and it just got mistranslated into English as Bald Mountain. It's just almost every release you ever see of this. That classic piece by him. Bum, 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 bum. Ba, 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 ba. You know, it's actually called Night on Bear Mountain. And I've actually seen a couple of really old like pressings, like on 78s, like hard, you know, shellac. You know, you can see old pressings from like the 40s, 30s and 40s, where it's titled in the proper translation from Russian to English, Night on Bear Mountain. So, but I was stoked to find this. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Pretty cool. I'm going to do an episode here pretty soon in the future of my favorite, you know, contemporary and classical symphonic albums and compositions and stuff like that. So that'll probably be in there. Actually, all three of those will likely be in there. So just a few more to show you guys here. Got some more rock and roll. I know I should, again, another one I should be familiar with, but I'm not. I've seen it, you know, forever, my whole life, you know, in bins, you know, dollar bins and record shows and just forever. Cool art. And I'm sure it's like, just kind of like jam hippie blues rock, right? Hot tuna. Stoked to dig into some hot tuna. Yum, yum. Fucking cool art on the back. Yeah. I've seen this album like forever, for fucking 30 years or more. I've just never given it a shot. I really got to get into some of the older stuff. So here I go. Some of the good olds, the oldies but goodies. Some Deep Purple. A little bit more familiar with Deep Purple. I've had a few Deep Purple albums, but this one really cool. With the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at the Royal Albert Hall. I'm assuming, right? Isn't that Royal Albert Hall? Anyway, yeah, at the Royal Albert Hall. I know my shit. It's a pretty monumental venue. That's where the Queen sits, right up there. Oh yes, the Queen. Yeah, stoked to get into this. Here we go. Last one of the night. Nothing super cool, but again, some more of that kind of classic rock. Some of the classic stuff that I really ought to get more familiar with. Some Vanilla Fudge. I've always seen this around forever. I fucking love this art. It's so beautiful. Yeah, if anything, this album should have, and if it hasn't, hopefully maybe in the future it will win some sort of awards for, I don't know. I just think it's magnificent, this style of album art. And you know, this may as well have been a cover album. This is probably their first album, I'm assuming. They look like a bunch of children, but they just cover a bunch of Beatles songs. You know, they cover Ticket to Ride, they cover Eleanor Rigby, they cover, it looks to me like there's only 2 songs on this that are original written tracks by them, and it's like part 1 and 2 and 3 of the same song, Illusions of My Childhood, a Curtis Mayfield song, a Sonny Bono song. Yeah, anyway, I'll dig into it. I think I've given it a listen before, years and years and years ago. I remember kind of liking it. It's got that really cool plum and orange brown rust color, Atco label. Yeah. Original price tag from where it was purchased in whatever, probably 68. Just taking a stab, 67. So someone bought this for $3. Pretty neat. Now I got it. And it looks brand new. Feels brand new. It's friggin' awesome. Vanilla Fudge. Self-titled. That's all my thrifty finds, guys. Like I said, just kind of like warming into the week. You know, I'll probably post another couple episodes this week. And I just hope everyone's having a great time. And that's all I got for you tonight. Peace be with you guys. Laters.